guys, welcome back to another Awaken Moments episode. We definitely miss you guys like crazy. We were able to go to the drive-in with a couple of you guys, and if you weren't able to come, just know that we missed you. And Trolls 2 really wasn't that great, so you didn't miss much, but we had a good time. And so I just want to remind you before we really get into it that we love you and we're thinking of you, and we want to hear from you if we haven't. So just reach out to us and we'd love to connect with you. But on to our Devo for today. Today I want to talk about the victory that we have with Jesus. And I know we just got through Easter and we talked about the redemption story of Peter and the resurrection and all of that, but along with that you also have victory because of what Jesus did and who he is. So I want to read a little bit from this devotional. If it'll pull up. It closed itself out. So I'm just going to read a little snippet. It says, whipped 5 times, beaten by rods 3 times, stoned, shipwrecked 3 times, bitten by a snake, adrift at sea for a day, often without food, and arrested several times, Paul the Apostle spent a total of 5 to 6 years of his life in jail. So we've talked about Paul before and how much of a savage he was, because he literally went through everything and anything that you could possibly think of, and at the end of his life, he was still so sold out. He did not question that he had victory because of Jesus and what Jesus did. So he writes in Ephesians 6:12, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places." And I talked about this a little bit before. We have victory in this life, but we also have victory in the supernatural side of things because of what Jesus did, because he literally defeated death, took the keys to hell, and conquered everything that would possibly hold us back. We can walk in freedom, knowing that we own that victory because we have a relationship with Jesus and we accept what he's done for us. So I am going to read 2 different versions. Okay, so I'm just going to read in Ephesians 1, and I'm going to read verse 20 and go down to verse 23. And I'm going to read it in the Message version, just so it's a little bit easier to dissect. It just kind of words it really nicely, and I just appreciate it. So it says, all this energy issues from Christ. God raised him from death and set him on a throne in deep heaven, in charge of running the universe, everything from galaxies to governments, no name and no power exempt from his rule. And not just for the time being, but forever. He is in charge of it all, has the final word in everything. At the center of all this, Christ rules the church. The church, you see, is not peripheral to the world is peripheral to the church. The church is Christ's body, in which he speaks and acts, by which he fills everything with his presence. So, because of Jesus coming and giving us this victory and changing the course of our lives forever, we read in Ephesians that what that means for us. God has dominion over everything. Everything on this world, whether it knows it or not, belongs to the Lord. And because of that, we can know that whatever circumstance we face, especially with what's going on right now, we can walk through this life knowing that because God owns everything, everything in this world belongs to him, we have the victory knowing that. We have safety, we have freedom, we have reassurance, we have a promise from the Lord that we are victorious because of who Jesus was and what he did for us. So, that's it.
Well, it's definitely going to be short this week.
Yes.
Which is good. So you guys, mainly JC, don't feel like you have to run outside for 4 laps just to get through the video. We know some of them have been long, but that's okay. It's not like any of us have anything to do anyways. But at the same time, that verse talking about how we're not supposed to look like the world, but the world is supposed to look like us, is always been a big deal for me, because as a musician, especially in the church world, it's hard to sometimes realize that you're trying to sound like some other song in the world because that's what sounds good right now. That's the sound that is being produced. And if you want people to use your music in their church, then you make your stuff sound like what's popular. And so, you know, I had to really figure out and get past that struggle so that I could figure out what my sound was and the way that God intended my music to be, and how it wasn't meant to sound like someone else's in order to be popular. And I think that's a big thing, and especially nowadays, a lot of churches are starting to see what they're made of, and they're starting to see, you know, how much they actually look like the world, and how much they have to change in order to keep doing church and not have to look like the world, because the world's shut down. So they have nothing to base off anymore. And so, but that's a really good verse to remember, that Jesus said we're not of this world, we live in it, but we're not of it. So we got to remember that the church is not supposed to look like the world, but they're supposed to be mimicking us. The way that we do things. Our, you know, laying on hands and praying for people should be normal. It shouldn't be a weird occurrence that happens on a good altar time once in a while. It should be a normal, daily process that we go through, and it should never be something that's looked on as, oh, you're one of those praying weirdos. No, it should be like, dang, why don't I do that? Because what you're doing is working. Right. And especially now that we're in this time, you know, you guys have a lot of opportunity to practice this before the new year starts for school. And so I want to challenge you guys with that. Once the school starts and reopens again next year in August, or next school semester, use these things that we're teaching you now through these videos to take to your campus, and we promise you they'll work. Maybe you struggle, but they'll work, and you will start seeing your friends coming to church and wanting to be a part. It will work, trust me. It works. It's worked since day one. God knows what He's doing. So, but anyways, that's my 2 cents. I really have to go to the bathroom. But anyways.
Anyways, well, we love you guys, and we hope that
Shandy.
We hope that this encourages you. I know that things have been a little tough, and a lot of you guys are going stir crazy, but just know, if you ever need to refer back to a couple verses, I would definitely encourage this passage, just so you have a reminder that everything is the Lord's, and He knows what He's doing. There's no confusion. There's no thing in this world that's ever going to take Him by surprise. And we say that a lot about you guys, and that nothing you do could ever surprise Him, because He's going to love you and give you grace and give you mercy no matter what. But it's especially true for the whole world. Like, that doesn't just apply to us. It applies for everybody. Nothing they do is going to shock Him. No virus, no whatever is going to shock the Lord. He knows exactly what He's doing. So we have to trust and know that no matter what, in the end, He is victorious. And because we are faithful and called and chosen, and because we love Him and we follow Him, that means that victory belongs to us as well. So take that, put it in your heart pocket, and hold on to it in these really hard times. And just remember that the Lord is for you, and He wants the best for you, especially now. He wants you to seek everything that He has for you. So I'm going to go ahead and pray. All right. Dear Lord, thank you so much for giving us these opportunities to connect with our kids. And God, I just thank you for the victory that you have given us because of your Son, Jesus. God, I just ask that you would be with these kids and just remind them of who they are and how much victory they truly have in you. God, I pray that you would just give us these opportunities to shine our own light and reflect the church and reflect you and your love in the best way possible. God, we thank you and we praise you. Amen.
Amen. Okay, guys, well, we will see you next time. We're going to try to figure out something maybe to do in the coming weeks so that we can see your faces again. But we'll let you know what that is. We're still planning, but we'll send out a text so you guys have the details. But we will see you, those of you that are able to be here Sunday, we'll see you Sunday. It's mainly Shandy.
Mm-hmm.
And
if not, watch online.
Watch online.
Watch online.
We'll know if you didn't. That's the thing. We'll know. But besides that, just be looking out for a text about what the next event we're going to be doing or trying to meet up.
If you're bored enough, we are doing prayer twice a week at 9 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We would love if you guys would join us and just pray with us and just listen. Matt will be doing worship for that hour. I kind of just sit back there and run the comments on Facebook so you guys can comment and I could read what you're saying. So it's a really nice way to connect. And we also want to encourage you guys to be interceding and listening to the Lord during this time. So if you're interested in watching, it's on Facebook Live. I really would like to see some of our kids on there. And if you need help figuring it out or you need another way to watch it, text me and we'll figure it out. But that's the last thing.
Peace.